My mother-in-law shows her true colors. My husband and I have been together for 4 years, and we just got married in October of 2022. He's amazing, quite literally the man of my dreams, and I have an amazing life with him now. My parents and the rest of my family love him. I'm Native American and have a really big family. He comes to family events, holidays, cookouts, etc., and I haven't heard a single member of my family say they didn't like him. My husband's family is very small. Besides his parents, he has one brother, his wife, and their 2 kids. His brother and his family live in multiple states away, so we only see them around the holidays, and they don't really have much extended family. So the only members of my husband's family I really see are his parents. His parents are the stereotypical white conservative small-town Christians. My husband is no longer religious. Mill stays at home and tends to the house while Phil works. I was worried about his parents' beliefs at first as I practice my native tribe's spiritual beliefs. I'm very left-leaning, socially and politically, don't dress very conventionally, and my husband and I have no desire to have children, but they were pretty chill with me when I met them the first time. His dad I have had no problems with, but over time, I have started having trouble with his mother. She just flat out doesn't like me. According to my Fael, she has said I'm not the kind of woman that needs to be with her son. Her reasoning is because I don't act like a woman, I won't be a housewife, and I have a man's job. I'm a flight paramedic for a service that airlifts critically unstable patients. I love my job, and I love being a paramedic. My husband has never expressed that he wants me to be a housewife or take up a stereotypically feminine job. If he did, we wouldn't be together. But apparently that's what his mother thinks he needs. When I first met his parents, we had been dating for about 5 months. Mill initially said that I didn't seem like the type of woman my husband would bring home. I didn't take it personally. I assumed she didn't mean it harshly. When they asked about my job, I told them I was a flight medic. FIL said that was awesome, while MIL just frowned and kept quiet. Whatever. She was fairly polite at first, but as my husband and I got more serious, she began to dislike me more. It began with snide remarks. She would slip into conversations her belief that women should be homemakers or have jobs like teaching or caregiving. When I started working 48-hour shifts, she asked who would handle the housework. My husband told her he would while I was away for those 2 days. She got upset, saying it wasn't fair for my husband to do it all alone while I was gone. My husband explained we shared household responsibilities and that it was fine. One day we were over and she went on a rant about missing the days when women acted like women and men acted like men. She talked about how women needed to be housewives and mothers again while men worked and provided. While she never directly named me, I knew she meant to include me. Fael told her to calm down, saying it wasn't the time for such discussions. She got mad and said, "Well, it's just the truth," while looking my way. I'm not stupid. I knew her rant was a way of expressing her feelings about me without saying it outright. My husband was quite angry when we left, and I wasn't too happy either. I told him she's allowed to have her opinion, no matter how backward it is, and I wasn't going to lose sleep over her living in the 1950s. He said he was upset about the blatant disrespect. He talked to her, and she promised not to do it again. So I managed to let that situation roll off my shoulders. Everything came to a head with her a few weeks ago. FIL invited us over for dinner, so we went. My cousin is getting married in a few months, and my husband mentioned that we were going to the wedding. It will be a traditional ceremony in accordance with our tribe's customs. FIL said that was cool, and MIL asked if there would be alcohol there. I didn't really see how that was an issue, so I said yes. She responded with, "Son, you don't need to be around all that drinking." My husband said it was fine and that it wouldn't be a problem. She said, "No, you don't need to go. It's not safe if there's going to be alcohol there." I said, "Why wouldn't it be safe? It's not like we're going to be at a bar. It's just going to be my family." She then said, "Well, some people can get violent when they drink." I knew exactly what some people meant and that this was a racist remark. I told her that no one would be getting violent and that everyone would have a designated driver. My husband then said that we were going, and there wasn't going to be any negotiation about it because he was a grown man and could make decisions for himself. That just made her more upset, and she started going off about how it wasn't a good idea for him to be around a bunch of drunk people. After FIL told her to calm down, my husband asked why it mattered so much to her anyway, because it's not like we were forcing her to go with us. She then said, "I just don't think it's a good idea for you to be around a bunch of drunk Indians." I was in shock. I knew this is what she meant, but I didn't think she would have the courage to flat out say it. "You can't be serious," I said. She proceeded to tell me, "I am serious. I know how you people are, and I don't want my son around it." My husband began to lose it and started yelling at her. I honestly didn't have a response to that. I was just dumbfounded, as was my FIL. My husband told her he would not stand for her blatant disrespect and hatefulness any longer, and was not going to allow her to be racist towards me. She then said, "I can't believe you're seriously choosing this red-skinned bitch over your own mother. I gave birth to you." I told her to go fuck herself and went out the front door, with my husband following. She came running after him, begging him not to leave. He then told her, "No, fuck you. You're dead to me, and I never want to hear from or see you again." He was shaking with anger when he got in the car and told me he was done with her and her bullshit, and that we wouldn't be going back there. Ever since then, she has been blowing up our phones, saying she's sorry and begging to reconcile. I don't know what to do. My husband is angry and upset that his mother is like this. Does anyone have any advice on how to deal with a situation like this? Update. Hello everyone. First First off, I just want to thank you all for your kind words and advice. It means a lot to me. I didn't think this would get as much attention as quickly as it did. My husband and I have not had contact with MIL since this happened. We did, however, set up a group video chat with my husband, me, his brother, and Fael. I'm at work right now, so I can't make a full update at the moment. But long story short, we discussed everything, and FIL and husband's brother are on our side. I posted this to see if there was anything else we could possibly do, or if we were in the wrong for not wanting contact with her anymore. But I now see that our decision was probably the most reasonable. I'll go into more details and post a follow-up when I get off work. Thank you all. Update. Hello again. This is a follow-up update to my post about my MIL being racist and calling me a slur. There is a little more to my story that I couldn't fit into the original post. The reason I didn't have much of an adverse reaction to her words is because, sadly, these are things I've heard my whole life. I'm not white passing, and you can take one look at me and tell I'm native. I think what shocked so many people about what my MIL said is because many believe explicit racism is a thing of the past, when it's still very much alive in some people's minds. After the incident took place, my husband and I went home, and Miel tried to call and text both of us to beg for forgiveness. She told us she was sorry and wanted to make amends. I blocked her, and my husband told her to leave him alone until he and I worked through this. My husband also informed his brother about this, and he was horrified as well. My FIL also reached out to us and said he was sorry for what happened. He mentioned he didn't know she had thoughts like this, and at the moment he was so shocked by what she said that he didn't know how to react. He asked if it would be possible for my husband and me to speak with just him to discuss what he could do moving forward. We agreed. We ended up having a video call including me, my husband, FL, and my husband's brother, who I'll just call Bill going forward. BL said that there wasn't much he could do since he is several states away, but he would support us in whatever decision we made, and he would send a strongly worded message to ML. FL was very emotional about the situation and stated he didn't want to lose his son over what Emil said, and that he would do anything to maintain contact with my husband. He was so upset and confused about why she thought the way she did and why it was all coming out now. I mentioned that she may have always felt this way, but because they live and have always lived in predominantly white communities, I was the first person she knew to target. Everyone agreed with that. FIL said he wanted to suggest that she go to therapy or some sort of counseling to work out these feelings within herself, and that he planned to tell her that she had a choice, either seek help to change her narrow view of the world or lose both her son and him. He said that I make my husband happy, and as his father, there is nothing more he could ever want. We all agreed that some counseling would definitely help her if she was open to it. My husband mentioned he doesn't want to speak to Emil right now and isn't sure when or if he will be able to. He said that if he had anything to communicate or if there was an emergency, he would reach out through FIL to get to her. In the meantime, he will block her number. I mentioned I just didn't want any contact at all, and we all left it at that. I also informed my parents and some elders in my community, and they were upset as well because they have heard similar things. They praised my husband for supporting me and said they understood my decision to go no contact. And that's the situation right now. I want to thank everyone who left kind words and advice on the original post. I made it to see if we might have done something wrong or if going no contact was a bad choice, but I now believe it is probably the best option. While this situation and what was said upset me, the kind words on my first post remind me that there is still good in this world. If anyone else is going through a similar situation, I'll share what my dad told me. You can never force people to be kind to you, but you can choose to surround yourself with kind people. Thank you all. Update. Hi again. It's been a couple of months since I last posted about my situation in which my mother-in-law called me a red-skinned bitch and said my family was a bunch of drunk Indians. I figured I'd conclude the story since I think this mess is finally winding down. Long story short, FIL is divorcing Mael. Mael attended counseling twice a week for about 3 weeks until she decided she had enough of it. I suppose she thought that was enough to please my FIL and husband, but she showed no genuine remorse for her actions or any change in her racist mindset. FIL told us that they had gotten into an argument about how I was taking their son away from them, to which FIL responded that she had driven my husband away from them, not me. Mill was very angry that Phil continued to take our side in the situation instead of hers. This erupted into a very heated argument between the two of them, and Phil didn't go into extensive detail. She ended up saying more bad things about me, about how I had torn her family apart, made a mockery of her, stolen her son, and pushed her husband and other son away from her. In reality, if she would have just kept her mouth shut, this all could have been avoided. My husband is pissed, naturally. I can't say I feel much emotion about it, though. I feel bad for my husband and his family, as they are losing contact with their mother and wife. But then again, I also see a bitter old racist getting what she deserves. It's a shitty situation overall. FIL said Mill was so angry she left the house and is staying with a friend for the time being while lawyers sort things out. FIL is still very upset, which I understand. He told me he felt terrible about the whole thing, but he didn't want to remain married to an evil woman and someone who would drive his children away. He told me that he knows he is not a perfect man and has made mistakes and not always been the most accepting or open-minded, but he wants to become a better person and try to understand people of other cultures and identities. priorities. I greatly respect that. So, in an attempt to lift his spirits, I offered to take him to a powwow a couple of weeks ago, and he accepted. My husband has gone with me several times, but this would be FIL's first experience with anything like that. I introduced him to my family, and he was very respectful. He had a blast. We danced, sang, listened to the music, and ate until our stomachs were about to pop. He thanked my family and me for letting him be a part of this, and said he hadn't had this much fun since he was a young man. My family and I thanked him for being a good person and standing by my husband and me through such a messy situation. My father tried to comfort him by saying that sometimes the best way to grow is to cut ties with toxic people who hold you back. Honestly, I think this is the best way this could have gone, and I'm so happy my husband didn't have to cut ties with both his parents because he's always been so close to his father. I can see that my FIL is trying to be a good person and become more accepting and supportive. I'm very happy about that. I'd like to again say thank you to those of you who left such positive comments on my previous posts. It really means a lot to me and makes me happy to know that there are people with good hearts out there. I saw that another subreddit, Best of Reddit Updates, saw my post, and many people said nice things there too. And to any natives who have dealt with or are dealing with racist comments, discrimination, or being called racial slurs, never stop existing because our existence is the biggest form of rebellion. We're still here and we're not going anywhere. Thank all of you kind internet strangers. Peace and love always.